My name is Stella Morris, and I'm 25 years old. Currently, I work as a system engineer and have been successfully promoted. I grew up in a poor household and cannot say I had a good life. Both of my parents worked from dawn till late at night. And I barely received any affection growing up. My little sister, Nicole, who just turned 20, has always been uncontrollable and often cried when she was younger. I took care of her on behalf of our parents, but she never grew close to me and was always clinging to them. Even now, nothing has changed. And my parents have ended up doting on her. One day, a family meeting started without her. I'm sorry. My company will be acquired next month. They're reviewing personnel, and I've been laid off. My mother was momentarily shocked by my father's sudden announcement. What? We're already strapped for cash, what are we going to do? Nicole's college fees are still pending, aren't they? I really am sorry. I didn't know where to join the conversation and just stayed silent. Then, well, Mom, we have another breadwinner here, don't we? Huh? Me? I initially thought, but soon realized that was indeed the case. That's true. Let's have Stella do her best until you find another job. Finally, I spoke up. Wait a minute. Didn't I say I was going to live alone soon? I've been looking at properties and finally found one I like. What are you talking about at a time like this? Your own family is about to be stranded on the streets. Are you planning to just watch? My father continued. Is that so, Stella? Are you going to abandon us? I felt immense pressure. I've always been conveniently used by my parents, aware of our financial situation since high school. And I gave up on college because they asked me to. Instead, I studied hard and became a system engineer right after high school. Now, I might say it's my calling, as I've been promoted. And my salary has gradually increased. However, it's a different story when it comes to my sister. She's always been spoiled since she was little and never learned to endure. Unlike me, who has lived observing our parents' situation, she does whatever she wants. And the college I couldn't attend? My parents easily agreed for her. I don't have that much money either. If you're not living alone, you'd have the money, right? But I was looking to move in with my boyfriend. Which is more important, your blood-related family or your boyfriend? I was momentarily at a loss for words. Naturally, both are important. There's also Nicole's college fees. Understand that, Stella. Wait a minute. I wanted to go to college too. Why only me? Are you still talking about that? Don't you love your sister? She's your sister. Be patient as an older sister. Just like that? Can my desire to attend college be dismissed so easily? Suddenly, I felt down and lost the energy to continue the conversation. I understand. I replied in a defeated tone. Honey, we can be at ease for a while now. She's an engineer. And her salary seems decent enough. For now, you look for the next place. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Stella. Well, this concludes our family meeting. I've always felt that my parents never truly recognize my feelings. It feels like I'm the only one left out in this family. After the family meeting, my mother started preparing dinner when Nicole came home. Mom, I'm going on a trip with my boyfriend next week, so I need some allowance. Oh, really? Where are you going? Boston. By train. I think $500 should be enough. Nicole doesn't know about the layoff. Oh really? $500, then. Stella, could you give Nicole $500? Huh? $500 is a lot of money, especially now for this household. And to give it is spending money for a trip with her boyfriend. I'm the one who's been enduring, while my sister gets her way. What am I even working for? Mom, I don't have that kind of money either. I have a date with my boyfriend too. Really, what are you saying? Your sister by blood is more important than your boyfriend, isn't she? That's not it. Nicole looked at me with a smug smile, feeling assured of her victory. That's nice, right? Our family is on the edge. Please help out a bit. After being told this, I gave Nicole $500. Thanks, big sis. She only calls me big sister in times like these, not really meaning it. As far as I know, she doesn't even work part-time, just hanging out. Knowing this, my parents still see me as the one to mooch off. They must think they've made Nicole feel lonely before. But I'm the one who's really suffering. I locked myself in my room and tried to dispel this frustration by talking to my boyfriend. Hello, Jason? What's up? I explained everything that had happened. I thought Jason would understand. However, his response was the last thing I wanted to hear. Stella, let's break up. What? Why? After a pause, my boyfriend started talking. Because, how many times has this happened? I knew your family was in trouble. But every time our dates are cancelled for your sister, my feelings for you cool down. You chose her over me, right? I was speechless. My mother says my sister is my blood. And my boyfriend says I chose my sister over him. No one sympathizes with me, and I feel heartbroken. No, it's not like that. I want to go on a date too. Yes, about the $500 I gave to my sister, it was actually money I had saved for a date with my boyfriend. However, that plan was now shattered. I honestly explained this over the phone. But it seems he had finally run out of patience since this was not the first time. I'm sorry. I just want a normal relationship. Be happy. With those words, he unilaterally ended the call. Wah! Overwhelmed by the reality of the breakup and my current situation, I couldn't help but cry out loud. Then, my sister walked in nonchalantly. Big sis. Why are you crying? Shut up. I snapped back without thinking. But she didn't care and kept prying into my feelings. I get it. You broke up, right? Because you're poor, he dumped you? She didn't know that I had given up college for the family. Or that because of the $500 I gave her, my life had become tougher. And my boyfriend had finally had enough. That's why she says carelessly and optimistically, it's okay. There are plenty of other opportunities out there. It's not about that. Get out. Get out of my room. I said firmly, and my sister left without a word. Why is it always me who has to suffer? I stayed in my room until it was time for dinner. Reluctantly, I went to the living room. But my steps were heavy. There, the three of them were already eating cheerfully. Maybe I'm too pessimistic, I thought to myself. Stella. Could you add another $200 to next month's household money? We're a bit short. What? Oh, and Stella. I'm sorry to keep asking. But Dad has been invited on a trip to Florida next week. It's a farewell party for those who were laid off. So, okay? Wait a minute. I have. My attempt to protest was cut off by my sister. Big sis, I just heard Dad got laid off? And yet you're only thinking about yourself? That's a bit sad. What should I do? I don't share the same values as these three. Maybe the Morris family has started revolving around my sister at some point. Stella. Right now, you're the only one who can support this house. Okay? Please cooperate. It's always me who has to endure. It's unfair. I even had to break up with my boyfriend. After saying that, I let my emotions take over and ran out of the living room to the entrance. Wait, Stella. Where are you going? We still need to talk, and there's dinner left, right? Ignoring her words, I rushed outside. I just wanted to get away from the house and ran aimlessly, holding only my smartphone. I can't stand that house anymore. As I ran, tears streamed down my face, and soon I was out of breath. I sat on a swing in a nearby park. Checking my phone, there were calls from my father, mother, and sister. Probably because they couldn't reach me, they took turns calling. I decided to call my dad first. Hello. Dad? Stella, you scared us running out like that. Wait, I'll pass you to Mom. Hello, Stella? You really surprised us. What's going on? I want to do what I like too. But I'm tired of always having to endure. I'm sorry, Stella. But please endure this for now. It's a critical time for our family's future. Their suddenly gentle tones almost felt suffocating, as if to imply it was somehow my fault. Mom, let me talk. Hello, Stella, this is your home. You have a place to come back to. Life is long. There will be more chances for you. Forget about the boyfriend who broke up and help us now. Hearing this, I wondered if refusing would mean I was abandoning my parents. Eventually, I had no choice but to comply. Okay. I'm coming home now. With that, I ended the call myself. No matter what, it seems I'm the one who has to endure. I muttered, but of course, there was no one to help me. The park was deserted, and the quiet darkness felt just like the inside of my heart. On the way home, I ran into my ex-boyfriend, Jason. Ah, Stella. Jason. An awkward silence followed. You know, Stella, I was debating whether to text you. But since we met here, I'll say it directly. What? For a moment, I hoped we might reconcile. But that feeling was crushed in an instant. Actually, could you return the money I spent on the gifts I gave you? My new girlfriend likes brands, and I want to take her on a trip for her birthday. But I'm short on the budget for her gift. I was at a loss for words, unable to understand what he meant. What do you mean? You have a new girlfriend already? My ex-boyfriend answered nonchalantly. Actually, I was confessed to while we were dating, and right after we broke up. She confessed again seriously, and I accepted. That's how it is. While I was suffering alone, the one person I believed was my supporter had already betrayed me early on. By the way, that girlfriend is your best friend, Ashley. What? No way. I didn't know about that. I wondered why he would bring up something I hadn't heard about. But my thoughts were not there at that moment. Ashley had been my best friend since kindergarten, someone I often confided in. The fact that my romance ended with her taking away my boyfriend, who had celebrated us together with a smile, was shocking to me. Anyway, I'm sure you'll be hearing from Ashley soon. So I decided to tell you first since you two were close. But back to what I was saying, Ashley really wants a Chanel bag. And I don't have enough money. So, I need you to give back what I've given you. Gifts aren't something you're supposed to return. Come on, don't be stingy. Besides, I've had to cancel many dates. Because of your family situation, right? Time isn't something you can buy with money. And don't you think I was generous to even give you gifts? I was left speechless. My values didn't align with anyone else's. The conversation wasn't connecting. Without caring about my feelings, my ex continued. So, in a way, I'm the victim, right? Like the law says? If you do something bad, you pay a fine, so let's just settle it with $2,000. Did I do something wrong? Huh? You aren't aware? Isn't family supposed to be important? Aren't you supposed to prioritize them? My ex responded with exasperation. If that's the case, you shouldn't have started a relationship in the first place. You're too irresponsible, starting a relationship without any buffer. If you hadn't had a boyfriend from the start, none of this would have happened. Act more within your means. I see. I was overtaken by a feeling of helplessness. It felt like my spine was chilling. Everything seemed to darken before my eyes. Here's my bank account. It's a large amount, so please transfer it there. And sorry, but you'll have to cover the fees. Take care, Stella. After saying that, he handed me a piece of paper and left. The clock was just about to strike midnight. No one seemed to care as I continued to cry in despair. I trudged home. The tears wouldn't stop. I reluctantly opened the front door. My mother was there to greet me. You're late. Where have you been? Oh, you're crying. What happened? I imagine that in a normal family, I might have felt relieved by these warm words. And hugged her tightly. But I felt as if I was living in a different dimension. From these people. I couldn't do it. I'm home. I responded dismissively to my mother's questions and headed deeper into the house. In the living room, my father had fallen asleep with a bottle of wine. And 3 cans of beer opened beside him. He was the only one who drank alcohol in our house. Despite talking about the family being on the verge of homelessness, he couldn't bring himself to quit drinking. I was becoming increasingly disillusioned with this home. I didn't want to think about anything. You should say something if you're worried. Worried? Ah, thanks. My response might have come off as sarcastic. Perhaps sensing the unusual tone. My mother didn't say anything more. I felt as if there was no light left in my eyes. I disliked even being in the living room, so I headed to my room. All the savings I managed to accumulate, now less than $1,000 left. I blurted out as I opened my passbook. My sister entered again. Big sis. I'm going to Boston tomorrow, what souvenir would you like? She asked cheerily, oblivious to my feelings. I don't want anything. Ah, okay. Hey, is that your passbook? Don't touch it. I swatted away her hand, but it knocked into my purse, scattering my cash card and various point cards across the floor. Wow, that's a lot. How many bank cards do you have? This one is for the supermarket. And you have so many different kinds. She mocked me as if laughing at my plight. And this one is, huh? This. What now? Nothing. I want to shop, so I'll borrow this store's point card. I'll return it when I come back from the trip. Before I could react, she took the card she picked up and returned to her room. I hadn't turned on the light, so I didn't notice that the card she took was my credit card. The next morning, when I woke up, my sister had already left. My father was still passed out drunk. My mother was preparing breakfast. I can't take this house anymore. Maybe I should leave. At that moment, my phone rang. It was my ex-boyfriend. Stella. Transfer the money quickly. I want to buy a present today, but I don't have enough money. Can I come over now? Everyone just cares about themselves. I thought to myself. Maybe I should just live selfishly too. Ironically, this call from my ex made me think that. I'm not at home right now. Huh, what do you mean you're not at home? It's only 7 a.m. on a Sunday. You don't have work, right? I'm out. Bye. My heart had completely cooled off. Maybe I was incapable of feeling anything for anyone anymore. The fact that I could lie so calmly was proof of that. Yeah. I'll be free now. I packed only the essentials. And while my mother was in the bathroom, I quietly left the house. Maybe I'll go to Yellowstone. I decided to head to JFK Airport first. As I got into a taxi in front of the house, I could see my ex in the rearview mirror. He hadn't noticed me but had probably come to check if I was there. After arriving at the airport, I went to the counter to buy a ticket for a flight that day. Yes, how can I help you? I'd like to go to Jackson Hole Airport. One moment, please. We have seats available on a flight in 50 minutes. I bought the ticket without hesitation, passed through security, and boarded the plane. As the captain began his announcements, and the instruction to turn off electronic devices came, I saw a call from my mother on my brightly lit screen. I turned off my phone without a second thought and took off into the sky. Upon landing in Yellowstone, the air was refreshingly clean, making me feel as if my spirit was being cleansed. Then my phone rang again. It was my sister. Hello? Big sis? What? Check out the image I'm sending you. The image that came through was of my sister and her boyfriend in a room that looked like it was in a luxury hotel. What is this place? What's going on? Isn't it great? It costs $2,000 per night. $2,000? There's no way we can afford to stay there. I was confused and shouted lightly into the phone. That's because I found something good in your room yesterday. Something good? You found a point card, right? Actually, it was different. It was dark so you might not have seen. But it was actually a credit card. My sister was laughing over the phone, and I could tell her boyfriend was praising her. However, I thought how foolish she was. You're an idiot. What? Wait, Stella, what did you just say? I must have misheard. But did you just call me an idiot? That's right. You really are an idiot. How can you say that? I could have forgiven you if it was just $500 because that was my money. But not this time. What do you mean by that? I'm in Yellowstone right now. Do you understand what that means? How could I know that? Are you saying you're on a trip too? She still only thinks about herself. Her questions are simplistic. I mean, I don't plan to return to that house ever again. Do you understand what that means? What? Not coming back. Well, you did say you were going to live on your own. But what does that have to do with this? Ugh. I sighed. Look, that card isn't mine. It's registered in my name, but it's actually Dad's. It was transferred to his name a month ago. I was just holding on to it. And I've never used it. The deductions from the account? They come out of Dad's account, you know? What? My sister's voice lost its energy. I continued. That's what I said earlier. I don't intend to return to that house. Do you get it now? Your selfish actions have just driven your own family further into a corner. But it has your name on it. You should pay for it. I sharply criticize her spoiled thinking. That's just how you are. You never try to handle things yourself and always rely on others. You don't understand the value of money, and because you do whatever you want. This is what happens. $2,000, that's going to be tough to pay back, right? It's impossible. I thought so. But it's also impossible for me. I no longer want anything to do with any of you. Fine then. I'll tell Dad and everyone. They'll just drag you back anyway. With that, she hung up the phone unilaterally. 5 minutes later, Mom called. Stella. What do you mean you're in Yellowstone? What about us? She must think like my sister. I'm not coming back. I always had to make sacrifices. While Nicole gets to travel and attend university, and Dad does whatever he likes. Even planning to go to Florida next week, right? It's all too unreasonable. So I've decided to stop living there. You'll have to manage the money yourselves because I can't be relied on anymore. What? You can't just spring this on us. We still have to pay for the university. Then you might as well make her quit. Or let her work and earn her way through if she really wants to go that badly. Do you want to put Nicole through hardship? And it's okay for me? My mother was at a loss for words. Well, you're the older sister. I'm tired of hearing that. Maybe now you'll understand how important this older sister was. With that, I hung up the phone. I've said my piece, the air is clean, and I feel refreshed. Time to look for a house. Choosing around Yellowstone was somewhat random. But it might have been a good choice. Unlike New York, there weren't unnecessary buildings, just vast nature. I went downtown to look for real estate. After being shown several properties, I decided where I would live. Thankfully, the rent around Yellowstone was overwhelmingly cheaper than in New York. I'll be staying in a hotel until my home is ready. While I was looking for a hotel to stay in tonight, my sister called. Stella. I'm sorry. She started with an apology, but I no longer felt any attachment to the Morris family. This is the last call, okay? After this, I'm deleting your contact. No, don't say that. I won't be able to advance in university like this. I don't have enough money. I want to hang out more with my friends. Stella, please help me. I gave up on university for the family because we couldn't afford it. Yet Nicole attends without care, not even studying much. Just fooling around at university. That's not fair. You want to go to university? If you really want to go, earn the money yourself. You're so stingy. I've never worked before. How am I supposed to earn tuition? Why not get a part-time job? But then I'd have no time to hang out. You're incredibly selfish, aren't you? Aren't there friends of yours who manage both work and university? That's. Also, our family's financial situation is more serious than you think. The $2,000 you spent for your desires. We probably can't pay it without cutting down on food and university fees. You'd better work hard. You don't have time to attend university. That's terrible. The line went quiet. It was the right moment. I decided to say one last thing before hanging up the phone. Handle it yourself by working. Bye. Wait, Jess. I hung up the phone before my sister could finish and then deleted her contact. There were many notifications piled up. They were from my ex, my mom, and my dad. Today, I decided to sort everything out. I dialed each number in turn. Hello. Stella. Where the heck are you and what are you doing? I'm having trouble because I can't buy the present. I'm no longer in New York. And I have no intention of paying you back. Do you really think you can make your girlfriend happy? By demanding gift money from your ex-girlfriend? What? I wouldn't like it. A present bought with money squeezed from a woman I don't know. Well, you do know Ashley, so she's not a stranger. But if you can't buy it yourself, I doubt you'll be able to keep it up in the future. You won't be able to protect her. Goodbye forever. Be happy. Hey, wait. Stell. Once again, I hung up without hesitation. Next, I had calls to return to my mom and dad. I called my mom first. Hello. Hello, Stella? What on earth are you doing? I've decided to live around Yellowstone. I don't want to return to that house. Wait. Actually, Nicole apparently charged $2,000 on the card. And we absolutely can't pay the bill. Is there anything you can do? It's because you two spoiled Nicole that it's come to this. I'm glad I changed the registration. It's no longer my concern. Why don't you make Nicole quit university and work to pay it back? After a pause, my mom seemed to ponder and then said, maybe you were right. Okay, I'll make Nicole take responsibility herself. You live the way you want to live. Bye. With that, she hung up. I felt a bit sad. After all, she was the parent who had raised me. Lastly, it was my dad's turn, but he called me before I could dial. Stella? Yes. Nicole has quit university. She was screaming and crying. And she broke up with her boyfriend. I've also decided to do part-time work until I find a job. Don't get involved with us anymore. You're free now. Sorry, I didn't realize this sooner. Take care. Then, the call ended. Dad was crying. I found myself crying too. Now, I had no more concerns about my family. I was free from the family's curse. Finally, I made one last call. The recipient was the workplace I had to suddenly leave. Hello, may I speak to President Owen? Given my high school education, it was unusual for the president himself to interview and hire me. He even personally handled my training. "Hello, it's me. I actually have to quit." I explained everything in detail. Then the president said, "You're lucky. Actually, our company has a branch there. And just today, a position for the head of the systems engineering department opened up. I would like to recommend you for the next successor. What do you think?" Incredibly, it was an offer for a promotion. I really liked the company and admired the president. There was no need to hesitate. "Yes, please, I would appreciate it." Since then, I have been on a smooth career path. Just because they are family does not mean their values will align. Being trapped by obligations without the ability to rebel becomes a curse. If I ever have a family, I will make sure they never feel the same way. I pledged this as I looked up at the sunset sky.